Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your first quiz review for sections 1 through 3, Chapter 1, Algebra 2. If we start off with number 1, we're going to evaluate an expression. And when we do that, we're going to plug in a value that we're given, in this case, -3, for our variable t. And so what I'm going to do is take this value of -3 and plug that in everywhere I see a t. If I square -3, I'm going to get 9. When I subtract a negative, I get a positive. And now I have a -18 plus 11. And my solution, when I simplify, is a -7. For number 2, is the relation above, is y a function? Remember, for y to be a function, x can't repeat. Does x repeat? Yes. So my answer is no. And my reason is x repeats. What is the domain? My domain are always my x values without repeat. So I've got 3, 5, 6, and 7. The domain are my domain values without repeats. 2, -6, 0, 1, and 9. For number 3, we're going to continue to evaluate functions. Here, if I have h equal to h of 3, everywhere I have a k, I am going to replace it with 3. 3 to the 4th is 81, and 81 plus 13 is hopefully going to give us a 94. What are the domain and range of this function right here? Remember, the best way to find domain and range is to graph the function. So on your handy-dandy graphing calculator, go ahead and make sure that you end up with a parabola, hit y equals, plug in this function and graph, and you should see this right here. And for the domain, horizontally, we can see this function contains everything. So we are going to call that all reals. For my range, my values of y, where do I begin? I actually begin at a -1, don't I? And I go all the way up. So I would say y is greater than or equal to a -1.
Students, you can get your IDs over where you had your pictures taken yesterday.
All right. For what real numbers are not in the domain of a function like this? I should have said equals f of x. But what values would not be in the domain? Please remember that your denominator can't be something. What is it? 0, right? We can never divide by 0. So if I set this little bad boy up equal to 0, I would add 100 to both sides, square root both sides. If x is either 10 or -10, once I square root, I'll get two solutions, right? Positive and negative. If either of those are true, my denominator is going to be 0, and that can't happen. So these are the values not in the domain. A little different wording on the question. All right. Review it up, and I'll see you in class for your quiz on Friday.